Good evening and welcome to another exciting matchup in this Omnidextrous Memers Guild bracket round best of three matchup. We have match one between Engidave and PlumeriaKnight here. My name's Vitasia. I'm joined on the microphone tonight by my good friend Corgs. How are we doing today, Corgs?
I'm pretty excited. I'm so excited that literally I have both my hands in the air, like I just don't care. And I think everyone should, because isn't that kind of what Omnidextrous is all about?
Absolutely. We get to dual wield raising the roof because it is on fire and all these other pop culture references that are showing exactly how old we are.
Yeah, we're well seasoned. And speaking of well seasoned, we got two seasoned runners here. PlumeriaKnight and Engidave are going to show us how it's done. I feel really excited that we get to call this race. I predict a super tight, close finish. But one of the main hallmarks of this flag set, in addition to the omnidextrous wacky flag, is the addition of K-Trap. So there could be some swinginess in where they decide to go.
Absolutely. Some of these flag sets, we're still getting used to them. We are in the bracket stages. We had a few rounds of asyncs to get us down to the top 32. And, we do have our top 32. Interesting kind of meta has developed around these flag sets. You're always guaranteed a white mage start of some sort, either a Rosa or a Porum. In this instance, looks like we have a Rosa start, but yeah, between the K trap and the Omnidextrous, it's really kind of played a lot of havoc on opening routing, hasn't it?
It has, you have some options. You have the ability in some cases to take all three Eblin Castle trap chests within like the first 5 or 6 minutes if you find the right gear and you have the right party. Or you could do the traditional overworld route and maybe pick up a better character. There's the freebie from Edward. You have so many options when these runners start.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think, is really interesting, and I've had a lot of conversations with some of the other participants in the tourney, the difference between Rosa and Porum from a starting perspective really makes kind of a dramatic impact on what you decide to do because Porum's ability to get exit pretty quickly if you can open up those trap chests in Ebland uh, makes it a significant advantage when it comes to routing the rest of that overworld. With Rosa, you're not given that luxury immediately, so it kind of changes some decisions that you make early on.
We'll see what the starting item is and how that affects those decisions. But we get the double white mage start here tonight, so that's kind of fun.
Hey, I'll take it. With the Omnidextrous seed, Rosa, perfectly serviceable melee fighter. Great HP curve. Can certainly get up to the high HP levels. Porum, if you want to keep her around for a while until she can exit and Zerk and do that, also perfectly great. So I'm not terribly uncomfortable with this particular start here.
No, I like it. Yeah, just for that reason you said, you can choose to turn one of your white mages into your DPS right away. You have double Berserk for later in the game. So if I get this start, these characters are staying on my team the entire time.
Absolutely. Quick question in chat from Nagamasa. What do the icons next to the live version number mean? It's just a checksum. It's to confirm that both runners are running the same seed. So, great question, and welcome to the community. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask us. We do see some immediate checks here. Eblin Castle is a very popular start. We see ninja swords, boomerangs. I saw crystal sword. I did see a drain sword as well. Great starting equipment overall.
Yeah, speaking of that checksum, I mean, this is the checksum as well. Both runners went to the same spot, basically following each other's footsteps, grabbing this early loot. The loot setting isn't super generous, but given Omnidextrous, you're going to be able to piece together a pretty good kit pretty quickly.
Sork robe, a couple of rods for a black mage caster if we ever end up finding one. Not finding a lot that's going to enable us to start opening trap chests, unfortunately. I think we're going to be in a position that we're going to have to double dip Eblin Castle. not a fantastic feeling, but it's also one of those situations where, both runners are probably going to have to do it.
Unless we are about to hit some big weapons. Runak's not bad.
Runax
crystal
does
armor.
enable, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see Medover's done. Well, maybe not immediately from Engidave. We'll see if PlumeriaKnight makes a different decision.
Plumeria is going to do that. That is significant there. I will say I have expected Dave to try that. Engidave, of course, is my partner for the Tori and Tango and is likes to push things aggressively. So a little surprised to see him not necessarily try that trap chest, but PlumeriaKnight is getting set up to put as much armor on as possible. And then is going to be Drain Sword and Silver Hammer. So trying to center slot while Porum is going to be swinging away. This is going to be interesting.
Engidave, I don't know if you saw it while you were watching the equipment. Engidave picked up the Earth Crystal already.
From Bedward, that's just a fantastic pickup then. Oh my goodness, I will take that.
Let's rate this treasury.
Day.
Top half, not great. But definitely some usable stuff in there.
Yeah, I saw an Earth Hammer, which is a great piece of gear. High attack, +5 strength. Enables you to cast Quake if you need something to sweep, if you have an early gauntlet that you end up running into. So overall, not bad, actually.
Yeah, the Earth Hammer, it will also enable one-shots when they get down to the underground for any traps. And there's the Heroine Robe in the free treasury. That is the hit.
That is a home run. Dave already running into the inventory boss. And it's kind of the worst spot to do it, so I had to walk back and forth to open things up. Unfortunately, PlumeriaKnight did not get any sort of progression, just a white robe. I say just a white robe. Still plenty happy to see that, but, not exactly. You were hoping for something good if you were going to spike that early.
So I think we're going to see a big loot moment here. Does PlumeriaKnight also make the decision to do free treasury? I typically do the free treasury if I get Earth this early. We'll see if PlumeriaKnight also gets the Heron Robe from the freebie, or if he just does the main cache. In addition to all the gear, if you're watching, you might notice Objective 5 has been checked off for Engidave. With this flag set, the objectives are the same every time. There are no random objectives. All the objectives are pretty much handle the M section of this OMG tournament. A lot of our community's meme-based objectives. So we'll see how quickly they can accumulate them. They do need 6 out of the 7 to get the crystal to enable the Zeromus fight.
A quick note here, and something that I find really, really kind of interesting. We put the Heroine Robe and most of our speed gear on Rosa, at least on Engidave's side. He wants a fast anchor in his middle. Meanwhile, on PlumeriaKnight, you put the Drain Sword on his middle slot, opting for a slow anchor position. And it's kind of interesting when you get the setup going. You do typically want a faster anchor when you're clearing the overworld spots, not wanting to get the slow anchor until you're really deep into the underworld. So interesting setup and difference between the two runners here.
Yeah, sometimes you play with the agility early if you're trying to get certain weapons to proc, though I don't think either of them have anything that swoon procs yet. But Engidave through, and so far we've got 2 trap chests and 2 shirts. A white shirt from the Ogres and Eblin, and a black shirt, the Flame Dog, up in the Tower of Zot. And that early loot divergence, chat pointing out Plumeria did not pull through to the free treasury, missed the early Heron Robe. Slight loot advantage right now for Dave.
Yeah, Heroine Robe is a significant piece of gear. It's not quite adamant armor awesome, but the fact that it's available, the restrictions are lifted with Omnidextrous. You can have multiple on a single character. That Heroine Robe is pretty significant right now.
And you can put it wherever. You can put it on your body, on your head, on your hand as a ring or a bracelet.
You know, I frequently wear women's clothing on my fingers too. I just an admission to put out there to everyone.
Yeah, just you gotta celebrate. All right, we have our first K main check. Was that a Blizzard Spear?
It was a Blizzard Spear. Again, not fantastic, but you'll deal with it. PlumeriaKnight is being incredibly aggressive right now. Says, you know, I got some experience on one of my characters, and I cleared out a treasury. I'm going to go ahead and clear out this Earth Crystal location. It's 2 characters, have a little bit of gear, but you're banking on leaning real hard on that gear that you ended up getting, hoping for something mildly friendly. If you get something too bad, you might have a rough time here.
Yeah, wouldn't it have been nice if Plumeria, the runner making this check this early, had found the Heron Rope for his sake? I'm pretty sure, well, I guess I'm not sure. Did he hit Berserk? Because he did do the one trap in Eblin. My guess is he doesn't have Berserk yet on either character.
I don't think so. Rosa was knocked over, so Rosa didn't get any experience. Did pick up some experience from the Flame Dog check. Meanwhile, this is a flavor of Mylon, and it is, it's Mylon with the ghosts. This is going to be interesting.
We had that blue robe. I was wondering if that's one of our objectives, is the robe sprite for the Fabul Gauntlet, the alt gauntlet, but it's always the 50-50 with the Water Hag, and we got the Water Hag. We also have a ninja, by the way.
That's a fantastic pickup. I mean, it's a sweeper, first of all, to help enable clearing out the trap chest and Sylph Cave a little bit easier once you have a setup going.
And if you remember, I think they actually pulled 2 charm rods from Eblin, so that, you know, being omnidextrous, Edge can now left hand charm rod, right hand charm rod, casting whatever kind of ninja magic he wants to cast.
Absolutely. It doesn't take a whole lot of wisdom or caster tier to really get Edge up to the point where a blitz will kill off all of the ghosts in those trap chests. All you then need is an RA1 setup, and you can clear through, especially the poison treasury there in Sylph Cave, pretty quickly. It makes it a very attractive check.
Yeah, definitely. This also clears up the Beigen spot was a purple robe, so we now know that's Mylon Z. Typically, by the time you're doing that check, it doesn't really matter who's there given this flag set.
So, for PlumeriaKnight, I think this was probably a best case scenario, because this Mylon with the lit ones is not going to be hitting terribly hard at this particular location. So we can really take our times getting through it. Dave does find our answer, though. The hook is available in Antlion Cave. Does not have exit, so we'll have to walk it out, but I think he's happy to see that.
Yeah, that could make the Zot play kind of a swing point early of the seed. You know, if Zot, let's say Zot gives a Foo, and that's the only location that we find Foo, or let's say Zot has one of the other required key items, this could be a big play for Plumeria, but if it doesn't pay off, could be a bit of a time sink. I'm wondering if Dave is going to be incentivized to go there now that he's already done Flame Dog and he already has the hook. And he is your partner. He could aggressively chase hook at this point with his characters.
So I think, based on what I know about Dave and his habits, Dave is one of those types of runners where if he is confident in the flag set and confident in his practice leading up to it, he will just play his game. He won't be ultra aggressive. He's not going to push any low percentage or try to make any super aggressive plays, because he'll always make the high percentage plays and let the race come to him and make the other person beat him. And Dave is an incredibly strong runner, so it's a great strategy for him in this particular regard. Although now it looks like he's going to be diving into Zod. So
yeah, I think what you said perfectly explained his next move. And just picking up a Yang, that could be our anchor for the seed. I'm very happy with a Yang core.
Yeah, Yang anchor. It's about all he's good for in Omnidextrous. It's funny, the last tournament that we had, Yang was not exactly given a whole lot of priority in terms of character selection, because it was a win game sort of situation, and he's only really good once you get him levels and get him a couple of decent claws. Now with Omnidextrous and everyone can equip everything, he doesn't benefit from plus attack power stuff quite like everyone else. He still needs the levels. So he's even more worthless now than in the previous tournament, I'd say. He's good for an anchor. That's about it.
So we got this Odin fight. We had a Berserk attempt that failed. That must mean someone wearing crystal armor on that side. And it happened again. I think Plumeria forgot that he put crystal armor on whoever he's trying to cast Berserk on.
Yeah, if it's that crystal armor, great piece of defensive gear, but not.
Prevents Berserk unless you happen to have the Avenger. I'm not even sure if we have the DPS for this. So the slow cast came out, and that's going to help a little bit. Yeah, because you can. What you were saying about Yang, his best use right now is using the Flame Spear as an item to get at least a few hundred points of damage. If we get through this, or Odin streaks across the screen. Run buffering, trying to keep those frames all to himself. Uh-oh. I don't think that is good. That's a big...
That's rough. Big hit, 3,000, and it's a lot of it boils down to you have to do a lot of damage, and when you're making kind of the aggressive play that Plumeria made to dive this first thing without checking anything else, without getting any other levels, without doing anything else, it puts you behind the 8-ball kind of right away, and he's making a dive right into it. Engidave with a little bit more loot and a few more levels, I think we're going to see exactly the benefits that he had of just, running your race and not trying to push things.
Saw Plumeria go into his equip. Not sure if he noticed or changed the crystal armor out, because I think berserking any one of his characters here will get him through, especially with some slow casts. But yeah, I think you're right. Engidave is going to make up a good chunk of time here with this setup. Cat mentioning, yeah, okay, great. That we're now berserk ready on Plumeria's side.
Okay, so Plumeria did set up Drain Sword Yang as an anchor, so certainly trying to slow anchor this.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Immediate self-berserk for him. Are we going to see a slow cast? Yep. Yeah, no real threat here from Odin until that Odin attack. Zansatsuken, I think, called, comes out.
Too bad we don't have anything like a Blitz Whip or Thunderclaw or anything of that nature.
Yeah, that would speed this up. That would almost be one-shot or two-shot territory. But I'm pretty sure Plumeria's fine. Yang taking one for the team, flame spearing himself to be our anchor. Thank you, Yang.
And down goes Odin on Plumeria side, right as Engidave is starting his Odin. Keep in mind, Dave he's already done Fabul Defense, he's already done Antlion to get the hook. And plus he's already done Mount Hobbs to get an edge. So Dave is in a much better position right now than PlumeriaKnight. Plumeria first one through, but there's a lot of checks that Plumeria has to catch up on.
Yep, you can see the difference in fights just with Edge doing 2k plus damage per swing, 3 swings and you're out of there. I mean, really good job by Plumeria noticing what the issue was and immediately fixing it and getting through. But yeah, Engidave, slight lead at this moment. We'll see how it plays out. Still many choices to be made along the way and many spots where Plumeria can make up that time.
Absolutely. Just a Dragoon Lance. I mean, I say just. It's a great piece of equipment there. Unfortunately, you're looking for something that allows some differentiation between you and your partner. In Rando, we've said it many times, and you can see it kind of in every sort of tournament. When you're in these one-on-one setups, it's not just about the route that you run, it's about the route that your opponent is running. And just trying to maximize the opportunity there. We're in a spot right now where we're just looking for more differentiation opportunities, and right now we're not seeing a whole lot. Prof NES has a question in chat. Omni question, only half paying attention. Can you exchange armor on your hand slots in combat? Not armor, but you can exchange weapons and shields for everyone. So you cannot do any armor into your hand slots.
Yeah, I guess with Omni, it's like you have 2 slots. You have the weapon shield slot and you have the armor slot, and they're all interchangeable within those 2 groupings. So anything can go in your hands, anything can go on the armor spots on your body, head, or hand, but you can't mix and match, as you said. Do you see a frozen wave?
I do see a frozen wave. I think we were just trying to get everything synced up together.
All thought out. It's nice how it froze perfectly, like mid-crest, and then just continued after it thought.
Both runners through that, and a pan. Okay.
Always good to get that before you head underground. We'll see if Plumeria decides, because he hasn't done Fabul yet, just to do the old one-stop Fabul.
I'm a big fan of one-stop Fabul, if you can get away with it. It's not often you can get away with it, but worthwhile to at least make the attempt.
All right, decision point. This is a spot where some runners are now going to grab that hovercraft and maybe make their way underground. Looks like Engidave is thinking that way. Plumeria gonna mop up at least Hobbs, probably Antlion as well. We'll see what happens from there.
Mount Hobbs is an interesting play, and I think it's, in Plumeria's case, I think it's the correct one, because it's... Mount Hobbs. Okay, he's doing Hobbs.
Yeah, not Ordeals.
Not Ordeals. Darn it.
Yeah, Hobbs, you have to go for exactly this reason. You don't want to leave an edge on the table that you could have had.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Characters are just important at this point. Just trying to get as many slots as you can filled. And really, as long as you have one solid melee fighter and a white mage who can cast this particular flag set, sometimes that's all you really need to get through fights.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if the runners are lucky enough to pick up, in Engidave's case, a second Heron robe. You can put 2 or 3 Heron robes, a whole bunch of black belts, just really get those bonuses going, get the high defense so nothing can touch you. Everyone can be back rowed by any back row weapon. So yeah, you can basically turn anyone into like an unstoppable machine of destruction, except for that fellow that we both agreed better serves as an anchor. I don't know if you want to explain to folks who are new to Omni why We've so far seen Yang get hit by his own team several times on each runner screen and sent to the floor.
So I'm not 100% clear on the details, but I'll give a summary to everyone out there. So effectively, there is a damage formula that everyone has, where every weapon that you have equipped has a certain amount of attack power, plus any stats that comes equipped with your weapon and armor. There's a damage formula that between the attack power and the plus strength that you have, plus the accuracy of the weapon, all of that mixed together creates how strong your swing and your hits. Yang is different in that none of his weapons have attack power, so they just didn't program like plus attack power into anything that Yang can do. So even with like a massive crystal sword, he'll get the plus strength bonus for anything, but anything with a large amounts of attack power will read as 0 for Yang. So all of the benefits of Omni really don't benefit Yang. His damage formula is much more scalable based on his level, and we're not overly concerned with levels here. So in the meantime, what is his best use then if he's not going to be a very good attacker and you can't do anything? Well, as if he doesn't gain any levels, we can just put some negative agility gear on him, put him in that center slot, and let agility, witchery, magic craft get the better of us, and just set up some great agility anchor here.
Yeah, get all the people who actually look at the weapon stats swinging as often as they can. So I saw, I think, a protect ring from the Lamia chest in Eblin, and our tracker Garen saying Eblin Castle Haunted. What was the Staleman skeleton chest reward?
I think it was Arty arrows, which...
Oh, yeah. Those are the worst.
Arrows in particular, bows and arrows are... I love seeing bows and arrows normally, but in Omni, it's just the word. It's just clutter. You might as well have a dark matter hunt at this point in time.
Yeah, all the talk about Yang, occasionally you'll see someone take him. I think you mentioned if you put gear on him that boosts his strength, that is going to help his attack. So I did have a seed recently where at the end I think I had Crystal Sword Excal on him, and he was doing maybe 2 to 3.5k a swing, so not nothing, and it was just happened to be my best option at the time.
Yeah, it's not a great option. The reality is, you give him some negative agility here. Even with levels, he's a great center slot agility anchor. Even if you give him levels, then you let him level up for Zeromus, swap over to some decent weapons and let him swing. He can do some decent damage as long as it's got his stats that he needs it.
This doesn't seem to be his fate on this night for either of these two brothers.
Now he's going to keep taking a nap, I think.
I think we're 0 for 5 on trap chats giving a key item so far.
0 for 5, yeah, that was just a wizard robe, I think.
Yep. So we have Iridia as our character here with some kind of guards. So looks to be a fairly easy hook route depending on who shows up at that King Queen Eblin spot. But again, with our team and their big defensive gear already and pretty decent attack, I don't foresee a problem, but I'd love to be surprised.
Brady is a nice character to have. She can certainly put in quite a bit of work. Fortunately, doesn't learn Quake nearly as early as we'd like. Also, less viable to be that sweeper position that we talked about for those trap chests in the Self Cave, just because everything that she can sweep with relatively early on is a pretty long cast time. So I think we're going to be sticking with Edge for that sweeper role and just letting her level up as needed.
Yeah, she's also typically a good anchor candidate, but yeah, I would agree that they'll let her get levels, and depending on what they find, maybe, especially if we didn't have the Edge, she could be a pretty fine sweeper, but I agree. I think they're going to let Edge do that job. if I were in their shoes, I would definitely be hoping for some other kind of bigger hit point growth character to take her slot. Something like a Kane or a Sid would be a nice extra melee to swap in over that Rydia.
Absolutely. You mentioned Sid. He's had quite the glow up this particular tournament, hasn't he? The ability to equip anything with his particular HP growth just makes him possibly the most attractive character, I would say. How about you?
I think I never mind seeing Sid. And I think he's particularly great when you need that one more character near the end and he shows up late, because it's not going to take much to get him to end game hit point levels and then using all that equipment. Because Yang is so similar with his huge HP pool, but obviously the weapon issues that we discussed earlier kind of hold him back there. So Sid's great for that. I love finding that late Sid when I can swap him out for, say, that Rydia who's no longer super useful. Normally Antlion could be pretty scary here, but as you can see, Antlion swung and missed at that edge. All geared up in the back. Berserked. One more hit and Engidave will be through this fight.
And quite a bit of damage. This is, I think, one of the benefits of Omni is that after a little bit of gear, you can bank on your melee character swinging for a lot more damage than you normally would here. Officer Soldier here. I don't know. Are we disappointed in this?
As opposed to the Baron Guards?
I mean, I just don't know, because this is one of those, okay, it's makes this certainly a whole lot easier, and the guards don't swing particularly hard, and yeah, I mean, we have a rune axe, so the Baron Guards would have been nice because we can just melt them, but it seems fine.
Yeah, if anything, I mean, you have to hit these three different things in the way for the retreat. But yeah, I mean, this is not a problem at all. The seed is really going to be determined by everything that happens after this, where the runners decide to go once they're underground, and how much those trap chests come into play. And then eventually, will the moon be required? Been a lot of seeds that folks have run, realizing that sometimes the moon is really just bait, and you can get kind of sucked in to making tons of checks. And if the moon doesn't pay off, you pretty much know if you're up against someone of equal skill, it's you can't really come back from that if you went moon and they didn't, and the moon didn't have it.
All right, so Dave does get through, and it's the first one into the underground at about the 31 minute mark. Worth pointing out that we full cleared everything except for Mount Ordeals in the overworld, including that Earth Crystal. Will be interesting to see what the first thing that Dave ends up doing. There is a Lunar Sparkle at the top of Lower Babel. That is an objective. We do not have the tower key, though, so some runners like to opt to hold off on Lower Tower until they get the tower key, but that objective is calling your name a lot of times, along with 4 trap chests along the way.
Yeah, which could have that tower key for all we know. But yep, Engidave launching the Falcon. PlumeriaKnight just a couple minutes behind at this point. Good time to shout out Garen, our tracker tonight, and Pyre restreaming. Doing a great job. Pyre's first time restreaming for free enterprise. Congrats.
Hey, congrats, Pyre, and thanks for all the help and for everyone behind the scenes. Quick shout out, if you're interested in helping us out behind the scenes or just joining our community here in Free Enterprise, feel free to join us over on the Discord. always looking for some extra volunteers or just cool people to hang out with to run some scenes yourself. So join us over in the Discord if you have a chance. We did have that link right there in the chat.
Engidave has made his choice. We're getting Ninja Magic Sylph Cave play.
Yep. At least knocking out. This is how confident Dave is. Oh no.
It's gonna lose one. Let's see if he decides to do a little safety heal after this.
I think he's at least going to get the Porum up to get some experience. And there's a Stardust Rod that I can imagine we're throwing on. Oh, he's like, oh wait, yeah, I have the Heroine Robe, which is giving me negative. Yeah. I was like, where'd my math go wrong? Oh, Heroine Robe.
Even with it, almost got them all. I wonder, Stardust Rod, Charm Rod, Heron Robe, maybe it overcomes that. Yeah, Charm.
Yeah, Charm is plenty. I think he's not going to waste time equipping the Heroine Robe when it would be overkill, frankly. Dave, I think, among people that I know in the community, more than anyone, Dave knows the math behind everything. He will tell you exactly how many pieces of wisdom gear his edge needs to take these things out. It is, and you can ask him a math question like that for many different encounters throughout it. So he's one of the most knowledgeable people I have had the blessing to call a friend and have raced against many times. Crystal Sword.
If only we had a paladin. Oh wait, everyone can equip that apparently. It's fine. Take it. Use it.
Crystal Sword with the Heroine Robe. Yeah. Looks like he shopped and picked up a stack of bandanas as well.
Our tracker Garen begging to be able to click something from one of these traps. So far, 0 for 8. I gotta think one of these bottom 3 in this poison treasury are gonna pay off.
Yeah, we'll get something soon.
Here we go. Centipede's Magma Key. I'm calling it. Oh.
Can I interest you in a Darkness Crystal, though?
That does mean that the Magma Key could be up on the moon. With our Force Hook flag, part of what you need to know about this flag set is the Magma Key is an objective, and it's going to be from something underground, either directly or something given. All right, now these key items are starting to stack up.
Baron Key, that is an interesting. I forgot what we saw in our opener, but there's still also 2 boss checks. Still hunting, of course, for that Fabul Gauntlet, but it's also a single key item check as well. Feels like a not fun spot because it takes so long to get it, and there's a long cutscene, but sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely more desirable without having the Fabul Gauntlet yet, just for that extra bit of information, the extra chance at finding that. And that was a Mylon Z waiting for us in the Bygone spot, so no big deal there. But we did not see a blue robe. They're doing a quick flight check up and down. Gonna go back in, I'm assuming, take care of the Toad Lady on the other side, and we've got this thing called the Pan just sitting there. We'll see. I wonder if this lures Dave into going to Pan and then following it up with Baron or something else on the overworld.
Here is what I think Dave is going to do, because watched Dave do this before, and it looks like Plumeria is also immediately going in and going to be doing the self checks. He's going to do this. He's going to set up checking Sheila 1 and 2. However, he's going to safety save right outside the cave here. And if Sheila 1 and 2 give nothing, just an immediate reset out, and he can then go do tower as he so desires.
Engidave showing off. I think he had some kind of mage killing weapon that did 7k damage plus to that Toad Lady, who is a mage. Good to take her out early to prevent the cascading Toad cast, which Maria unfortunately is dealing with right now.
Was rewarded with a rat tail through that, and we have a point redemption PK 4787 with the shout out from the commentator crew. So big shout out to you, PK, for your point redemption. Thank you for being a fantastic member of our community. Yeah, I'm shouting you out for the thing. Yes.
Fantastic, a bit strong. I guess we can go with fantastic. What's up, PK? We have PK on our race, PlumeriaKnight PK, but I guess PK, it's just PK, and PK, flood the channel with that shrug. Flood with shrugs. That's your new slogan.
So interesting that Dave did set up the turn in for the pan for Sheila 1 and 2, but says, I have other stuff to get done here first. So certainly can understand and appreciate it. Meanwhile, PlumeriaKnight does end up with that rat tail, and will be setting up the Sheila 1 and 2 checks as well.
It's like no AoE solution for these warriors. Just got to hack through them one at a time, whipping them down.
Yep, no Leviathan, no Bahamut, no Quake. Edges, blitzes really don't do enough damage, unfortunately, so.
Let's see if PlumeriaKnight gives us some divergence. Looks like yes. I assume we're going to see that Babool play, as we see what the warriors give us here down the Feymarch trap. More defense.
Yeah, more defense, more crystal armor. We're gonna stack that on whoever ends up being our white mage.
Yeah, that is a great play in these flags. Someone that you're never gonna berserk. Earth Hammer from the freebie chest, kind of underwhelming at this point. Engidave, full inventory time to commence the selling of the arrows. I love selling stacks of arrows, 10 at a time in this flag set. And if you're new to the Omnidextrous thing, the reason why bows and arrows mostly get ignored and sold and trashed in this flag set is you need to be equipping both of them to get the benefit. So you can't just, as far as I know, unless I've been playing this wrong, you can't just equip, say, a spoon and then throw on your arty arrows and get dragon weakness hitting. So because of that, they mostly don't get used.
Fire March. Dave does pick up, in a rare bit of shopping, a few Cure 3s, or rather a few stacks. And looks like we'll exit out, double checking the bosses, and it is just King and Queen in the King spot, and then in the Asura spot, just Magus Sisters, which one of those is free, the other one is pretty nasty.
Yeah, normally you get a king and a queen down there, but this time we got a king and a queen. Which Now that I say it sounds like the same thing, but let's just go with what you said.
Sheila 1 does have the magma, and Sheila 2 ends up with a life staff, so that is a great pickup there. But it does look like Dave is going to be turning in, going to be doing Rat Tail. Looks like probably is going to turn in Sheila 1 and 2 first, just on the off chance that this is the Pigtail. Good heads up routing.
Yep.
But yeah, he's going to be disappointed. Well, not disappointed, but oh, okay, no Pigtail.
So objective-wise, both runners have done the opening of the treasury. They both have a magma available to them. They both have lower babble available to them, and they both have Cave Bahamut once PlumeriaKnight does the poison treasury. So that's 4 of the 6 we need.
Yeah, 4 of the 6
are essentially ready to go.
So we're still looking for the Fabul Gauntlet. We are still looking for the Twin Harp, and we're still looking for both parts of the Forge. And we need 2 of those 3.
You called out wisely Engidave's great routing just in case the Pinktail shows up, but in case you missed it, it was unnecessary because the Rat Tail gives the Pinktail.
That's silly.
And
but
just
okay, I mean, sure.
All right, let's activate the middle letter of our acronym here, OMG. Time to meme it up by throwing a key down a well.
Yep, I've protested. I don't say it.
You don't say, well, that's gone?
You know what? I will say that. Well, that is gone.
That's
Fantastic.
the meme. I know the one you're referring to now. Those days were over. But we've been underground for hours.
We have. So, Dave, doing an interesting play, says, hey, you know, we left this Mount Ordeals completely abandoned. This is a nice quick check on Dave's, you know, once you have the gear, once you've been underground, coming back up here and just sweeping through the bosses and finding a blue robe.
That's why you come up here.
Yep.
That's why you come up here. If you haven't found the gauntlet, you got 3 spots to find it. And if he gets a double payoff with a key item, this could be momentous. We'll see if PlumeriaKnight decides to make the same call.
And of course, you saw him looking for an earth hammer, a stardust rod, something that he can throw on his edge to sweep everything, since he's got the agility set up good. Takes the stardust rod off Rydia in this fight so that he can equip it onto his edge immediately and says, yep, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, there's too many of these ghost type enemies for Flame to do it, because they don't care if you flame them. So yep, really heads up play by Dave to make that swap.
Now here's the interesting setup then. Really the optimal play after this is going to immediately save after you get through this gauntlet.
Yep.
Still complete the rest of everything that you have to do on Ordeals, but it allows you to reset out as soon as you get the key item. If it's not going to be something useful, it'll let you just kind of reset out and kind of skip the cutscene and already work your way down the mountain. Saves a bit of time.
And it looks like, I was just going to wonder, is there any key item you'd be annoyed to walk out? But I think we already have those. Anything that you're going to walk out, you basically need. I guess the only one you don't is tower, but then that allows you to do the one-stop tower. So yeah, anything you want here. If we hadn't had the Baron yet or hadn't had Luca yet, those are kind of the ones where, all right, it's extra chain.
And it is just regular enemies swarming the top of Ordeals. In addition to the Alt Gauntlet, we got the 3 Dark Imp fight up here.
I'm seeing kind of a color theory going on because normally there's purple robes on this, so I think they separated out the purple robes into blue and red. I think that's exactly what the seed did.
Separating the colors out, just straight taking a prism to it.
Exactly. Yeah, they Dark Side of the Moon did.
There are worse analogies to be done to a game where we go to the moon.
Yeah, if only this gave darkness, that would have really brought that one home. But they already have that. Let's see if we see a reset or if we have to see a fight and a cutscene. I think it's going to be just a piece of gear, and I think we're getting a reset. Boom.
Immediate reset. Meanwhile, PlumeriaKnight is starting to climb the lower tower and all of the trap chests. So we know that at least one of the answers is on Mount Ordeals for Bull Gauntlet. That will enable Dave to do quite a bit. Will no longer be in a position where he has to do any sort of boss hunts or checks. So really set up pretty well here.
Yeah, essentially right now Twin Harp is Dave's go mode, or both halves of Forge, but since we don't have either one yet, Twin Harp really quick is essentially immediate go mode for Dave. So we'll see if PlumeriaKnight kind of spoils Dave's path, and as Plumeria gets Heron Robe parity going on, good hit. Dave will, I assume, have 2 of them at some point.
Yep. I can't imagine, unless Dave ends up stumbling and not going to the tower and doing something else before climbing lower tower.
You're right.
But that does not appear to be the case. Meanwhile, PlumeriaKnight is on 3rd chest.
Wonder what gear PlumeriaKnight used that didn't one-shot. I didn't notice what he's got equipped. An
Looks
axe
like
and
a
a spear.
Rune Axe. Yeah, Rune Axe Dragoon Lance, maybe?
Yeah, this is where if he has one of those Earth Hammers, that would definitely enable the one-shot, or Thunderclaw, though I don't think we've seen a claw yet.
Nope. Point of fact, I think Dave actually sold. He had a couple extra Earth Hammers, and I think he sold them.
Yeah, there was one in the Feymarch freebie we just saw. Looks like all the key items in the trap chest got filtered down to that poison treasury, where we hit a couple of them. Important ones. It's one important one.
Well, darkness, and then we did also pick up that Baron, which is still outstanding. But yeah, those 2 trap chests themselves, I guess, is everything that the trap chests have given us on the blue planet. I guess that it begins to raise a question. Do you start thinking, okay, blue planet trap chests didn't do anything for me. What about moon trap chests?
Yeah, in Dave's case, where he only needs one item at this point. I wonder where he's thinking. Also, with this Sparkle coming up, this is definitely where I'd be equipping some kind of dragon gear, just because the odds, I think with what we have left of the Sparkles, we have some Dragon Week bosses. Let's see if they hit one here. They do.
Between that Crystal Sword and the Dragon Whip that Engidave has been rocking on that edge, I think he's going to be fine, honestly.
Yeah, Plumeria will be as well. Should just be a few more hits from Plumeria. The viruses here are not going to do much damage, and they probably won't even get off.
Yeah, this is one of those spots that has quite a bit of HP, but when the main damaging attacks that whoever is here are magic, it has a very low magic attack, so not terribly intimidating.
All right, let's see if we get the classic vanilla tower. No, but we do get one half of Forge. So Dave is now going to be either Adamant or Twin Harp Go mode. Plumeria still is going to have to go down to the Poison Treasury and climb ordeals for the Gauntlet to catch up.
Yeah, but I think when you're in the position that Dave's in, where you are one key item away from Go mode, and you can get 2 different key items, you start going for density at this point. So I imagine his first stop is going to be turning in that Darkness Crystal, going to the moon.
Yeah, I think the question is, will he do Last Arm first? Will he do the hair dryers? I think. Would you guarantee one of those 2 will be his next check?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Last Arm. Dave loves the Last Arm check. He absolutely adores it. It's one of his favorites to do in K-Trap. Here's the thing. I'm going to disagree with it right now, though, because as I mentioned a second ago, you want, when you're 2 key items from Go mode, and it can be one of 2 different ones, go for density. And Last Arm it's a cutscene and it's a long walk. Take the time, go to where your most dense checks are, on the moon, deep in there where you're doing 2, 3, 4 checks, back to back to back.
Well, nope. Let's first clean up the earth. Let's dip into Luca. We know we don't need the boss, so Dave's going to be able to just run down. Takes about a minute. See what that item is, and if it's not one of those 2 things, then he's going to reset. So, not moon, not darkness related yet. One quick stop.
It does make sense. I mean, when you think about it, he's trying to get one last key item so that he can turn it all in, and then go to the moon, go to Cape Bahamut, and then immediately go and walk underground to fight Zeromus. We don't have a pass yet, so really hoping that everything's here on the blue planet so that he doesn't have to go up there, come back down to the blue planet, do the turn in for whatever it is he has to, and then return to the moon to complete the circuit.
Batasia, what if this is pass? Does Dave do it? Chat, would you do it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Would you? Yeah, chat, would you do this if this was passed? I don't think I would, because I'm still resetting out.
If I have warp, which I think he does, I think I do, but let's see if it even matters. Nope. I feel like if that's pass, I've already made the walk and I want to get something out of it, and maybe at least, assuming it's not a long boss fight. I guess there's arguments both ways.
Meanwhile, Dave is turning in the Darkness Crystal, going to be launching the whale. Last we saw, PlumeriaKnight was checking the Sylph basement traps. We know he's on his way to pick up his Darkness Crystal and his Baron.
Yeah, while we're waiting for that stream to come back and waiting for the whale to rise up out of the sea, let's shout out these amazing runners, PlumeriaKnight and Engidave. They are here kicking off the round of 32 coverage. And give them a follow.
Great runners, one and all. I mean, to make the top 32, I think you have to be pretty skilled in free enterprise, because the competition was quite fierce.
Yeah, definitely. If I was going up against either of these runners, I would be nervous. Welcome back, PK. And by PK, I mean PlumeriaKnight in this case. He did not pay for a shout out.
And chat pointing out, Engidave is abandoning Baron. Says, hopes Baron is Baron, which, hey, clever guys, I appreciate that. It's one of those situations where the worst case scenario for Dave is if Baron Key leads to Twin Heart, leads to Adamant, so that everything is locked behind that. He's certainly making the gamble that that low percent play is not the case.
When we switch back to Plumeria, I assume all those chests had been opened and cleared, so I guess we know he now has Darkness and Baron.
I'm going to presume so, yes.
Yeah, and as was discussed by chat and you, Vitasia, that might be at this stage Plumeria's out, which is, unfortunately for Plumeria, pretty unlikely, that exact sequence, but it's possible. We might know for sure in a second once these hair dryers are cleared out, if it's a moot point.
Getting a cure for caster looks like was good. Hey, a spoon. Okay.
Yep, full power weapon that you could pair with anything else to take advantage of any weakness or any strength bonuses you want to give. And we do have, we're going to get our first look at required objective K Bahamut. This is a summon check, which is not a key item check under this flag set. So this will not be potentially giving any of our required key items, but it is a required objective. It tells me Plumeria is not going to want this Asura summon. But Plumeria did not yet see the gauntlet, so we get to find out who's at seal.
Yeah, Plumeria is going to have to check this and just... Okay, resetting out of Rubicon. So that's a little bit of a time hit there. Oof! And these guards are punchy.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some kind of status cast going on them. If we could size them down, if we could tote them, but that does require people to remain upright. So Engidave, I think, is fighting a way through this fight. We see everyone down but Edge, who is not taking big damage or is even getting some misses. We are going to be able to hit their mage weakness with that rune axe, and Dave threw up a Star Veil to bounce off their size casts. So heads up by Dave. Though now we're getting some high roll hits into the almost 500, so this is still not a guarantee.
Meanwhile, PlumeriaKnight is showing us something different. This is Dwarf Castle, where we saw the elements fight right out of the gate. If this hits, it's significant for PlumeriaKnight, because I think Plumeria probably goes to Mount Ordeals before Engidave comes back down to the earth to do anything here.
Welcome in a cohort of raiders from Possum Morpheus' channel. Welcome all. We are an hour in. The big swing in this race is that Engidave climbed ordeals around the 45-minute mark to find the gauntlet, and that has set him one key item from go mode. Engidave's looking either for Harp or Adamant. Plumeria has not climbed ordeals, does not know about that gauntlet, so for Plumeria's sake, we would need to see one of those required items here, and then Dave would have to kind of go on a wild goose chase. But the moment Dave hits either Harp or Adamant, he's gonna be flying to Zeromus.
So Dave is doing safety saved up here on the moon, and he is flying back down to the blue planet for that giant check. He is going to be doing the last arm. Dave, you hurt me. PlumeriaKnight unfortunately just finds an Artemis bow from Dwarf Castle, so that did not hit.
No, we'll see if Plumeria kind of realizes the situation. Depends on exactly how he's feeling, and if he chooses to do this Baron. And it looks, ooh, he was flying past. I thought maybe he's still perhaps on that boss hunt. Gonna check the cave here. We'll see if that boss hunt lures him to Baron. Even though we know that's not the answer, it still could lead to Twin Harp, which could gate the other required item.
That is kind of what we're hoping Plumeria sees. Oh, gonna be launching the whale now. So looks like Plumeria will be joining Dave shortly up on the moon and doing moon-like activities.
After this vision fizzles away, doing 40 damage across the party, devastating. Let's see if the key item is devastating for PlumeriaKnight. Well, maybe. It's a tower key. I think Dave is now obliged to follow up on that tower key.
He is, but the nice thing is that he has his safety save up on the moon, so he can do his warps out and run up there, poke it with a stick, run back down, and as soon as he sees that key item, it is reset or you're in go mode. So I tend to kind of like this play right now.
Yep, he's following. I think it makes sense to follow through. The save on the moon that you mentioned is going to be useful if it doesn't hit. And we see PlumeriaKnight making that same decision. Last arm will be getting his tower key and most likely following that up as well. Plumeria might also be tempted to peek that element spot. So we might see a save after last arm, peek the elements, and then get the heck out of the giant.
Yeah, this race is coming down to how long does it take PlumeriaKnight to go to Mount Ordeals to get that Fabul Gauntlet. That's really what it boils down to at this point in time. Getting it relatively early, knocking it out when you certainly had the levels and could blow through Mount Ordeals pretty quickly to make that check. Knowing that he was still looking for not just key items, but also, a single boss hunt, and just landed on it, getting a little bit lucky. We've seen many times, I think, this tournament where that Fabul Gauntlet has hit in one of those three locations, and it's one of those things that it's really hard to ignore at this point in time. 3 checks when you're doing a boss hunt is a big deal.
Here comes that Elements Peak. Just a Sora. No need to fight. I mean, there is an argument that you could get through that pretty quick with the gear you have, and if you're still hunting for the gauntlet and you're desperate, you could do that. But we see PlumeriaKnight deciding not to, and generally that's kind of a Hail Mary type play that a runner might do. Take that particularly long high hit point fight just to peak a second spot. So good news for Plumeria that he did not go that route.
Meantime, Dave poked Leviathan in the eye and is finishing up lower tower. Imagine that's what PlumeriaKnight is going to be doing here directly as well.
I want to see these runners do moon stuff, so I'm rooting for this not to be the answer. Give us some more arty arrows, why not?
That's mean. Why do you gotta to do this? It's the package. Okay, another one for the pile.
So Dave not resetting. What is Dave's?
Yeah, that's confusing to me because I think, let me see, when I'm counting key items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's not like he needed that key item to hit 10 or anything, so I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe a few second save to reset. Not the end of the world for sure. Our tracker Garen pointing out that yeah, the package is another one of those spots that if you're desperate to find that gauntlet, you might sit through that lengthy cutscene to just to see who's at the other end. And we know gauntlet spot 1 on Ordeal is just waiting to be plucked. And yeah, the package would all but seal it, I think. If Plumeria checked that, would all but seal it for Dave, barring catastrophe, lunar catastrophe.
Duplicate Edge up on the moon, so no last second character checks for us.
This is always tricky when I'm in this spot. I don't know how you feel about this. 1 item needed, and you got a choice. You can go down and kind of get the density of the K Moon checks with the traps down there, or you can stay up. And looks like we're starting at the tippity top. Gonna hit the double giant chest, which I have checked so often, and in all the seeds I've played, I don't think it's ever paid off. So I'm expecting it to pay off here, just because mine never does.
Well, I think when you're choosing which trap chests to open and which ones to ignore, it really behooves you to know what weaknesses you can hit. For example, the red giants take extra damage from hammers and earth hammers, so that would be a great thing. You have a bunch of dragons on your way down. If you have dragon whips, dragon lances, all of those deal extra damage to dragons, so that tends to make things like Bimmy and Jimmy quite easy as well. Anything that helps you get through those, pretty quick is optimal. Meanwhile, it does look like PlumeriaKnight is going to be on his way up Ordeals, and oh hey, the twin giants had an answer. That was the twin heart.
Yep. And I'm going to check it in my next race, and it'll still be nothing. But yeah, good news for Dave. Good news for Plumeria to find this gauntlet, but it's going to be very, very tough to catch up to a runner as skilled as Dave in Go mode at this point. But we'll see how the rest of the seed plays out.
Great question in chat from Dryzelizer. In this flag set, is Edge the best character? I don't know about best. He's certainly the most versatile because he can swing quite hard, and he is a sweeper. And I cannot stress the importance of having a sweeper to be able to get through the trap chests in stealth quickly. However, you also need an RA1 setup, so it's dependent on making sure your agility is set up properly, and you have someone with, if they've gotten a couple levels, someone who can sit on a couple of drain swords and spears or anything like that. But certainly Edge is probably the most versatile. He doesn't have the best HP growth, but not everyone can be Sid. So.
Yeah, and especially in a seed like this, any seed where he's either one of your starting 2 or where he's up on Hobbs, you get him in that early game. And for all those reasons you mentioned, he just carries you essentially for the entire seed. No matter what role you need filled all the way through the Zeromus fight, he's there for you.
Yeah, and the follow-up question is, what about Cecil? So Cecil is an interesting case because Dark Knight Cecil does not have a very large equipment loadout, but Dark Knight Cecil in Omnidextrous can still equip everything. And that Dark Wave attack is certainly based on his attack power. So he becomes a pretty viable sweeper for those self-chests as well. Conversely, the power of Paladin Cecil is really tied to his exclusive ability to equip things like Crystal Swords and Excaliburs. Since that's not exclusive in Omnidextrous, it's just, hey, slightly better HP growth. And I need to be quiet because we have a Twin Heart coming.
Get late game music.
And we made quite quick work there.
Computer down.
Just a gun spear. Yep.
I was wondering if he was going to check that, because you don't. I guess, yeah, you don't have to pass. That's the main reason. Pass or Avenger would be a nice hit.
Yeah, it's also worth noting, you know, some people think, oh, if it's just break the Twin Heart spell and you get it, you don't have to fight the boss. Well, you do, because the room kind of locks you in until you fight the boss.
Whenever I'm in that situation, I definitely just want to turn around and leave, and you gotta convince whoever's guarding that.
I think one last note, because I know before we hit the Twin Heart, we were talking about Dark Knight Cecil, Paladin Cecil. It's worth noting that Dark Knight Cecil's HP growth curve is horrible. Like, legitimately, he's as bad as Edward when it comes to his HP pool, which might be a reason to send him up, but then again, as long as you nerf the first Big Bang, we're not seeing a lot of second Big Bangs in Zeromus with the power levels we have.
So we've got PlumeriaKnight taking care of the objective, the guards fight at Cape Bahamut, at least getting into that fight, as Engidave starts his march down into the lunar subterranean. No pass, has to do the complete walk, but holding the lead on Plumeria, ahead currently by this fight, the Red Giant Chest and the Twin Heart required objective.
Alright, so meanwhile, Plumeria taking on those guards, cast Mute. Looks like gonna set up Size. Well, they froze it, wasn't knocked over. It will be interesting to see if Dave opens any chests on his way down. Oh yeah, he's gonna open I think this is a Bahamut chest just for some quick XP. Oh, it's Benny and Jimmy. And he has dragon whips and everything.
Yeah, I think if we had had one more kind of either Kane or Sid type with higher hit points rather than the two mages up front, maybe by this point he wouldn't need to, but he wants that little bit of extra. Get a little bit more on Rosa. I would be surprised if we took any more than this. I think this is going to do it for him.
Yeah, if you can get, I mean, Edge and Rosa up to be able to survive unnerfed Big Bangs, you're set.
Rosa landing the size cast on the guards on Plumeria's side. That will take care of that fight.
Meanwhile, after a little bit of struggle, we do have the guards minied, so they are minied and muted and are allowing Edge to swing free. Oh, they're not muted. Okay.
No, they're tiny folks with a lot to say.
There's literally nothing I could say in response to that. That would be appropriate for this channel. Like, every joke that comes to my mind is not appropriate for public consumption. So,
under lock and key then.
Yep. You'll have to see it on our stream, Free Enterprise After Dark, which is not a thing. So, don't look for it.
Man, halfway through that sentence, Vitasia, I was trying to subscribe and then pulled the rug out. Man, we're getting really close on Dave's side to seeing this final boss, who's just going to be typical sprite that we see at the end of every Final Fantasy IV seed. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, it typically is. Wait, hang on a second. There's, I think from out of nowhere, we're seeing some flags pop up in chat.
I'm gonna add into that too. Yeah.
So these flags with the Z and the question mark, no, that does not mean it's getting late and it's time for bed and we're ready to sleep. No, instead it is asking a very important question in chat. You see, we're Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. We're a randomizer community. We like to randomize just about everything. Harp songs, sprites that burn down the Mist Village, everything. The one thing we can't mix up is Zeromus into the general enemy pool because he just has too many things going on for him. So what do we do when we like to mix things up? We randomize the sprites. There are lots, several hundred. I've lost track of how many sprites there are that Zeromus can transform into once you use the crystal and show his true colors. So that Z flag question mark is a question that asks, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Well, it has a butt, but I think the butt's off screen.
The butt is off screen. And it, wow, I think this is an early sprite.
This has got to be a classic for sure. It's great the way it's coming out of the lunar clouds or the whatever the heck that we're in right now.
The quasar. Oh no, the nuke target hit exactly who we wanted it to hit. No.
In case you missed it, that edge just swung for 9,400 damage. Rose is swinging for close to 4K. This is what you get at the end of a typical OMG seed. You get a lot of damage output. This fight is going to be over quite soon.
Our Porum doesn't even know Cure 4. We're casting it Cure 3. It'll be fine.
What's Edge's final gear? Is that a Dragon Whip Crystal Sword?
Dragon Whip, Crystal Sword, at least one, maybe two Heroine Robes.
And is Rosa Spoon some kind of spear? What I'm seeing.
I think that's Spoon Dragoon Lace.
Yep. Yep, really only needed those two characters. If you like Godzilla, don't blink.
Alright, in the meantime,
into the ocean.
Yep, there it goes. Didn't even see a second Big Bang or anything. Meanwhile, PlumeriaKnight looks to be on his way to be picking up the Twin Harpers right now, but GG's to Engidave, who does finish in first place with an official time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, 41 seconds. GG's, Dave. We'll see if he's available for a quick chat.
Yep, really smooth. I would say mistake-free run by Dave, showing us how it's done. And we've been joined by Engidave. Dave, are you there? If you are, GG.
Thank you. GG to PlumeriaKnight as well. I went for a bit of a walk throughout that scene, I think.
You did disappoint me because I called as soon as you got the Darkness Crystal and launched the whale that you would immediately go to Last Arm, and then you didn't. You went up to the moon first. I'm like, no! I do not know Dave as well as I thought I knew him.
Can do the extra check because I'm gonna have to go back to the Blue Planet anyway, and when you do Last Arm, it drops you off there.
That's fair.
So you talked about taking a long walk, Dave. Was there a particular spot where you started to lose confidence? Because the way you played was highly skilled. At what point were you wondering?
Last Arm, the Tower Key to package, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That
Like,
seemed
oh,
to be
no.
just a little bit of fishing. Like, okay, I don't want to go up to the moon and have to do. Yeah.
It's the last time I hit a K main check. It's a quick K main check. Quick, as in you pop the boss once and it goes away.
I was
I think all the
curious.
multi-phase bosses were gone already.
Yeah, I was curious why you didn't reset out from the package, because I mean, there was, you had done quite
Honest
a bit.
answer? I forgot when I last. I didn't remember if I'd saved before or after K value.
Ah, okay. Yes, you did. I remember watching it. It's like, that's a great safety save. This is exactly why he's doing that, and then you didn't do it.
I forgot I did it.
Yeah, that's not a bad spot where if you're not sure, it didn't really take it too long to get back to the moon. So yeah, definitely a good safety non-reset.
That was just a mistake. Nothing, no more, no less.
Yeah. So you decided to go ordeals at the 45-minute mark or thereabouts, and that was I'm guessing, you correct me if I'm wrong, that if you had seen the gauntlet already, would you have made that same play?
Probably. I don't like the ordeals play early, but one night power that I could just bang 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 through ordeals. It's when you can do that, it's like a minute or so to pick the key item, like minute and a half.
So I
was technically key item either way because it's still a K main check.
Yep.
And you can see you can see it before the last cutscene.
Yep. And you did well to save the value of the gauntlet that you defeated for the quick reset. You saw, I believe it was samurai arrows.
Oh yeah, it was an absolute trash up there.
Oh yeah.
Someone just crafted a bunch of rounds and said, these are garbage, and threw them on the mountain.
And it looks like your spoiler log is just telling us that adamant rock was in Baron.
I'm going to hear about this one from Martin later, aren't I?
I mean, Baron's a horrible check when you think about the cutscenes and the long walks and the extra bosses you have to go through. So I don't think anyone blames you for not checking Baron, but yeah, that's where the other answer was.
Is Baron a common fade for you on these flags, especially at that stage in the game?
Needing one key item, it's tough. More often than not, yes.
Yeah.
And it's bitten me a few times.
Yeah, it's a tough decision because as you said, you were mentioning, wanting to do hair dryers and wanting to do last arm just because of their kind of adjacent to K main level checks compared to the rigmarole you got to go through with Baron.
Yeah, you gotta walk through the sewers, you got cutscene, more cutscene.
But otherwise, other than the long walk, how'd you feel you played? Because it felt like you were making pretty mistake-free.
It felt well. The early heroin robe pretty much makes the entire seat breezy.
Yep, that was an early difference between you and PlumeriaKnight deciding, and then I was waiting because you went there first, and PlumeriaKnight, we were wondering, would he also follow through on the free treasury that early in the game, and he unfortunately missed it.
That early, I'm down there already. I'll just grab the 9, and did the 9 have value?
You did have to open the doors a couple times, but it was absolutely worth it.
Yeah, something inventory boss, something.
It's funny to see the characters pacing around in the cells waiting for the doors to open.
I think they're at the door going, let me out! Let me out!
I will say that might be the earliest inventory boss I've ever seen in 3 Enterprise, like sub 10 minutes.
I approve then.
Yeah, but like you said, that powers through the game, especially the early game, and it made a big difference on Zot. Plumeria made the very bold call to immediately climb Zot, but it just took him longer based on the gear he had and the levels he had, and he didn't have edge yet. And that was also a big swing, was you getting that edge before you did Zot and the rest of the overworld. And that really just set you ahead, and you never look back from there. So well run. You're up 1-0. I'm assuming this is a best of 3 series you've set up?
It is.
And do you know when the next one is?
Thursday at 8.
Excellent.
Oh, 8 Eastern, I guess I should.
Yeah. Yep. As a viewer, I'm gonna have to root for Plumeria because game 3s are always fun, but you're a very tough opponent, and
I can respect that. It's a reasonable answer.
Yeah, no, I always want game 3s, but Plumeria's gonna really have to earn it. You've been playing a lot of these seeds, doing very well. So congrats on tonight's win.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm just gonna run my race again next time. I think that's all I can do.
100% understandable. Well, one last GG's to you, Dave, and we'll see you Thursday then.
Yeah. I'll be back for that. Have yourselves a good rest of the night.
Good night, Dave.
And worth noting, through all of that, PlumeriaKnight did also open the Mac Giant chest, got the Twin Harp, defeated the Twin Harp location, and has already returned to the moon, making the long walk down into the lunar subterranean, and is immediately will be set up. I think much better off in terms of levels than Dave was, so won't have to worry quite as much.
Yeah, Rosa, very close to 2k hit points. With decent gear, that should be plenty. With the DPS coming out, we should be good. I guess that means the pass was up here on the moon somewhere, right? I think that's the only thing we have left are the moon bosses and the moon traps that we didn't see.
Yeah, because we know where Adamant Rock was. It was in Barren, so the pass is literally the only other thing on the blue planet we have not, or the only thing we haven't seen, so it's got to be up here on the moon.
There's a pass and a sand ruby and the Twin Harp, and I guess that was it.
And as PlumeriaKnight is starting his Zeromus fight, just one last reminder to make sure to follow us here at Free Enterprise for all the tournament action between Free Enterprise and Free Enterprise 2. Don't forget, there is another race coming up.
Yeah, I believe that's at 10 o'clock Eastern. And I think that is, if I'm not mistaken, Elvinsar versus Fleury.
Looks like Elvinsar versus J-Brun.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yep.
Yeah, and that's going to be over on the Free Enterprise 2 channel. That's going to go live here in less than 20 minutes. So make sure to, once we're done here, I don't know if we'll be able to raid over there or not, but let's stick around because there's more Free Enterprise tonight. Beauty and Discovery and Judge Joe are both on the mics for that one, so it's going to be a fantastic race just directly.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. We went through a whole set of asynchronous races for qualifiers, but now we're in the round of 32s, and this is just the beginning of that 32-person tournament to decide the champion. So if you enjoyed watching all these characters equipping whatever the heck they want, whenever they wanted, hitting weaknesses, doing big damage, and just kind of fitting any kind of role you need them to fit, you will see a whole bunch of very talented runners continue to do that for the next few weeks. So we invite you to set your calendars and join us for each and every race. If you're not a member of our Discord and you join that, you'll even get links to races that aren't restreamed, and people sometimes hang out and comment and watch and chat about races that are just being streamed by the runners themselves. So there is plenty of free enterprise OMG content available to you.
If everything's set up, looks like Rose is swinging the crystal sword with an earth hammer. Forum is also swinging quite high. Edge looks like is swinging at least a rune axe, so got everyone in on this action right now.
Let's see what we're getting around. It's like 8K plus another, 10, 11, 12K plus. It's like Iridia, we're doing hybrid strats, bouncing viruses.
Worried a little bit about a Meteor coming through and high rolling right now. That's my only concern, but we're committed at this point in time from the looks of it, unless Iridia is going to do exactly what I just suggested and cure threes. But there's that Meteor. Uh-oh.
We got damage. That is
there
it.
It is. Ooh, clutching it out. Crash, boom, bang, and PlumeriaKnight does finish with a time of 133.45. GG's PlumeriaKnight. And we are joined now by Plumeria. GG's.
Oh, thanks. That was a rough seed, huh?
Yeah, GG, Plumeria.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the couple tipping points early on, and I think it's always kind of a weird decision. Do you dive Earth Tower of Zot early when you're given that much power that much early, but just no characters and no levels, and hope that the gear can carry you through? And had a little bit of a rough start there. Otherwise, it was a very clean run, and you were right there neck and neck. But from that little start, I think it was just kind of an uphill battle from there, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Odin was particularly poor. I could have easily gotten through that if I had just remembered that I had the crystal armor equipped, but of course, I thought it was a whiff, even though that didn't make any sense. Going up Zot without edge is also really unfortunate. All you get out of it was Yang, who's my anchor today. So, yeah, it was just kind of a slow start. A lot of little tiny mistakes, and you can't really make little tiny mistakes against Engidave. It's a recipe for disaster. I don't know how our routes compared. I'm reading the chat here. It looks like maybe he did Baron, but not sure about that.
Nope. Either you did Baron,
okay.
Yeah, which had the Adamant Rock waiting for you.
Yeah, apparently.
He did Ordeals a little bit earlier than you did. He did Ordeals at 45-minute mark, so he was basically just waiting for one item after that for go mode, looking either for Harp or Adamant. But yeah, I love that early Zot play. It just didn't work out in the way that you would have hoped, and allowed Engidave to collect his edge. And he also one of the benefits he had was the public treasury had a heron robe.
Oh, nice.
So we saw Engidave grab that, and then we were all wondering, would you also make the extended treasury over in Troya? And if you had, you kind of would have. If you had done that, that probably would have helped even without the edge going up Zot that early.
Yeah, definitely. I try not to overloot though. Just odds are you're not going to find something useful. It's definitely a tricky kind of situation, but yeah, so I can't be angry about that. I mean, that a heron robe definitely changes the entire temperature of that seed.
Yeah, it's that delicate balancing act of when do you stop and what do you hope to get, and as you said, the odds say it's probably not going to be there, but they happen to be in Dave's favor tonight in that regard.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
I mean, that does raise a good point because it does feel like the point at which you stop looting is quite a bit different in these Omni seeds than they are in anything else, right?
Oh, for sure. Generally, you just need two decent weapons. 80 attack power or higher is kind of actually technically 77. I try to go Blizzard Spear or higher, and then two of those, and then you're pretty much set to start clearing out the trap chests to where you can get, the Excals, the Crystal Swords, whatever you can find that's going to carry you through the moon or through Z.
For sure. Well, race 1 of 3 is in the books.
Probably 1 and 2, but
hey, that's why we run the races, right? Anyone can win,
yes.
and I think if you can get to the round of 32, for example, our 32nd contestant right now, is someone who won a tournament not more than even a couple of years ago. So it's one of those anyone can beat anyone any given race.
Fair point.
Do you have any adjustments that you think you'll make?
I find routing this flag set very difficult. I think you just have to commit to your gamble. Against a good player like Engidave, I can try to beat him in a straight line, but I don't really have a ton of confidence that I can accomplish that goal. So maybe I'll go for a moon play or something next time. We'll see how the key items turn out, but maybe I'll try something a little different next time.
Yeah, looking forward to it. As I mentioned to Dave, I'm going to be rooting for you for sure because it's always fun to have a game 3. So I'm always going to root for that possibility. So I wish you luck in that next race, which I think Dave said was Thursday.
Yes, Thursday, and thank you.
Any final thoughts for tonight?
No, I think that's gonna do it. I really appreciate the restream. I'm looking forward to watching this back and seeing just how much time I lost to that heroin rope.
Well, we hope you can use it to learn some insights and then pull out a win on Thursday, because we always want to root for a game 3.
Sounds good. Take care, everybody.
Good night, Plumeria. Well, Batasia, I think we can set everyone up the rest of their evening with our plan for how we're going to sign off tonight.
Absolutely. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We're actually going to be sending everyone over to RPG Limit Break. They are one of our partners, I believe.
I think we've actually changed our plans.
Did it got changed?
Yeah, just because we're so close. It is 8 minutes to 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and that is when the next race starts that you plugged earlier. So I think we're just going to hang out here, chill with us here. Our first-time restreamer, round of applause. Great job by Pyre tonight, and great job by Garen on tracking. But our restreamer Pyre is going to play some tunes for us until Free Enterprise 2 gets up and running, and then we're going to send you right over to that J Brun versus Elven Sorrow race.
Okay, well, I'm glad that I turned off our chat because I was like, okay, we have a plan. We're gonna run this up. Just a big shout out.
Yep.
Yeah, big shout out to everyone, of course, behind the scenes. Garen for the tracking work, and of course Pyre for the restream. We appreciate that. And again, one last shout out to Engidave and PlumeriaKnight. And of course, Korgs. It's always a pleasure to work with you, my friend.
Yeah, Vatasia, you are rad, and it's rad watching and calling a race with you. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
All right. Well, thanks again from all of us here at the Free Enterprise. Make sure to join us over on the Discord, and we'll see you at the next race. Have a good night, all.